Okay, so DCIS is the Digital Controller Interface Standard. We heard a lot about digital twins yesterday. There are digital twins for utilities, digital twins for roads, digital twins for buildings. The bit about the junctions up until we started on DCIS hadn't really been thought of. So to overview for you, there's a team of us with me, Peter Routledge, who many of you will know from the Signals world, John Wade, who's a data guy who knows a little bit about transport, a lot about data, and Mark. We're implementing three things. So the first thing is, how do you give each traffic signal controller in the UK a number that's independent and unique? And the reason for that is we need that in order for the future, so we don't have duplication. We don't actually know how many traffic signals there are in the UK, so Darren's business case for fixing them and replacing them needs a number. We don't know that at the moment. The second bit is the topology of each site. So how is it laid out? How can autonomous vehicles drive through it? And the third is the logic of how the signals work. So if you imagine a DTRO that we had about yesterday is the legal bit that says you can't turn right. A DCIS standard is the technical bit that says your controller can't allow you to turn right. Why are we doing this? Firstly, it's because the future can't rely, as for DTRO, on cabinets full of paper, signal controller documents stuck inside a roadside cabinet. We've got to make it uniform and open. We have to enable a range of benefits, so setting up traffic signals more easily, modeling them through networks more easily, connected vehicle services, my passion, and in the future, autonomy. We can't rely on the idea that you want to second guess what a set of traffic signals are doing if you're driving up to one in terms of things. So digital roads need digital signals. That's what we've been on. So very simply, what is our work? Our work is to try and identify where that grey box is, traffic signal controller. Oh, if only it was so simple as that. We've got some what we call Frankenstein sites, which are ones that we found in order to test our standards, and they are quite nasty and gnarly. I'm not going to bore you with those, but if you do have any particularly nasty sites, please give them to Mark to sort out. So what we're doing, there's three things. One is the intersection summary document. That's where is it and where is it and what number is it. The second is, what does the junction look like? That's easy. There's already an international standard for that we call MAPM that we will use. And the third is what we call the E2500. So those of you familiar with signals will know there's a Topaz 2500 signal definition, which is either paper or an Excel. We're doing that in terms of JSON so that it's machine readable. So the intersection summary document is basically a list of all the signals that you are in the boundary of your local highway area. So there'll be ones that you don't actually own and they're not yours. There might be highways, there might be TfL, there might be somebody else's. Don't worry about that for now. It's uploaded to a central depository, a bit like DTRO that does checking to say, that GPS, that's in Outer Mongolia. Not. Also, we have a thing called a Simonite number. So those of you who have been around for someone remember Brian Simonite, who was the father of digital traffic signals. So rather than call it something geeky, every traffic signal controller in the UK will have its own Simonite number, and we got his family's permission to do that. So future generations of traffic signal people will say, why is it called a Simonite number? And you can explain that. We've trialled the process with Baines, with Jackie, with Dorset, with Hull, Kirklees, Leeds, Staffordshire and TFGM. So thank you to all of you who helped out, because you tested all of our guidance. And what was clear was that we need to improve our guidance on what you need to do. And the one thing that we stress is that you don't need to go and renumber your existing sites. What this is you take your existing sites and then there's a list where we translate them into numbers. One of the benefits of Streetwise meeting the other day was that David Denner said, I've got a list of all the signals in Wales, so we'll be working to import all the Welsh ones. So I've been practicing all this, so Gioch and Valor, David. That's what Staffordshire, once it's imported into our system, looks like. Red dots, signals roughly in the right place or seem to line up. That's a list of Dorsets to again show that we can do it. So over time, we'll start hopefully importing more of these. I won't go into the boring bit about MAPM, but basically it says this bit of white lane has a right turn arrow and only applies on this day and this time and whatever. The trouble is it's a bit over-engineered for what we'll do, so we're thinking there might be a lighter version, but watch this space on that. And the traffic signal configuration, this is the tricky bit. So it's all about how does a traffic signal controller actually work, the different traffic movements and all that. So many of you will be familiar with this, but basically at the moment that's a bit manufacturer specific. What we're trying to do is make that open. So we've got a draft that's gone to the signal companies for them to look at and say, oh, to change that, whatever. Also gone to the devolved governments and TfL for them to look at. So we're continuing to add things, but if we've got it wrong, then we apologise and we'll fix it. But the main thing is that we can't, as was said by Darren yesterday, we can't do this without your help. So what are the future activities? As you implement new schemes, hopefully as Darren gets some more money to spend, we'll be hoping that local authorities will be giving each of their signals a Simulite number, following the guidance that we will improve as a result of feedback of all those local authorities who did it. We'll be extending the definition of the controller in JSON so that it's machine readable. The other thing is that we mentioned about a process yesterday for uploading from local authorities a digital traffic regulation order. Surely there'd be a lot of resonance with that in terms of the way we do DCIS. So we've been talking to the DTRO team in depth. We've got to follow very key processes, but guess what? The DTRO team has already done that, so very much following in their footsteps. And we're testing use cases. So again, if you've got a really nasty, gnarly, horrible set of signals, please talk to Mark because we want to break our process. On that, I'll pass back to Darren.